everywhere in the country is suitable for silk production. We did a study and we are sure in all those places where they don't have perennial sources of income, this would be a possible source of perennial income generation for the Ugandans.
So this is where the whole story of sericulture begins from.
Yes.
From the garden. What you are seeing here
Yes.
is the mulberry plant.
Just to be sure, the mulberry plant.
Yes, a mulberry plant is a perennial crop. Yeah.
So what seeds are used? If you could just take us from the start.
What you need is a cutting.
Okay.
To the size of the cassava cutting. But while planting it, unlike the cassava, you do not bury it under the soil. You rather plant it while facing up, slightly up, with the two nodes which are up, but the longer surface should be underneath, such that it can capture the moisture and the other conditions that are necessary for it to sprout. At that time, mulberry plant is very vulnerable. You need to take much care. It is too susceptible to weeds, so you have to make sure that as long as it pops out, you weed it immediately. When it is younger, it requires weeding most of the time. But when it matures, like this one, you can skip some months without weeding, and nothing much will change to it.
How many months in total for this crop to go into the next stage?
For it to be fully established and ready for the silkworm to feed on, you require about 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, it is 6 months. The mulberry plant that you've just planted as a cutting will be at my height at least.
Oh, and you're tall, by the way.
Yeah, so mulberry also has, by the way, different varieties.
Yeah.
This particular one is Thailand, which so far has been proven to be doing well. For us at TRIDI, we do research about the different mulberry varieties, and Thailand has come out as one of the best performing. It gives you a broad, large leaf, like you can see.
Yes.
For it, it is good. It grows very tall, and it grows very fast. The only disadvantage is that it is too prone to pests and diseases.
Yeah, I can see.
That we can always overcome
and how
by just spraying.
Okay.
So this is one of the spaces we've improvised for rearing. Naturally, it's not the style of the rearing house that we should be having, but nonetheless, it can still do the same purpose as long as you make sure you've done the right processes. The rearing process starts with the silkworm eggs. Right now, we do not have an egg production center for ourselves, though we are going to establish one. But we now have facilities in Kawanda that supply us in Isipe, Kenya. They also supply us some eggs. Then we have others coming from China, as well as India. But when we get the eggs, we bring them into the hatching room. Hatching room can be improvised. You can create one. The silkworm grows into 5 stages before cocooning.
Yes.
And all those stages take an average of 28 days. What you are seeing here is in the final stage. They are not harmful.
Really?
We just don't like touching them, because unless you've disinfected your hands, because you don't know the kind of diseases you may carry along. So we don't. But however, I'll just sample one. You can see. This is the silkworm. It only feeds on the mulberry. It doesn't feed anything else. We put these plates as an insect trap. So insects, especially these ants, they can destroy for you all these in just one night. So we put this plate, pour there some water, such that it can trap the insects. And then these silkworms also survive under average temperatures, of about 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, and also 80 degrees Fahrenheit humidity, minus or plus. So it is really important to regulate. Here in Uganda, we are blessed because our conditions are quite conducive. We do not need to do a lot of magic. But otherwise, where there are extreme temperatures or humidity, you need to have machines that regulate the temperature or the humidity. However, locally, if the temperatures shoot high, if the temperatures are so low, it's too cold, the silkworm is so susceptible to such conditions. What you do, we put some charcoal stoves around to try to increase, and we do that at night normally. And the most important thing they get from this leaf is the protein. That's the protein that they convert into the fiber that comes out as the silk thread that we all want. So the more you feed them, the more thread they will give you. From 1 acre of mulberry, you can be able to rear an average of 3 boxes of silkworms. Here, at this particular stage, actually what we are doing, this whole space is for 3 boxes. 3 boxes, or 1 box occupies at least 2 beds. From those, you expect an average of 30 kilograms of cocoons. If you do very well, if you are very smart, you've crammed the procedure very well, you can produce up to 40. It doesn't limit you, 40 kilograms, and that will be excellent. But if you have 30, it is an average that can still keep you far away in business. From this, 1 box alone is able to give you at least 30 kilograms of cocoons. And 30 kilograms of cocoons, each of them is 20,000 on average. It's 20 to 30, but we shall take 20, the least. 20 will be times 30, that will give you 600,000. And now 3 boxes. 3 boxes will give you 1.8, and 1.8, that is out of 1 acre that you've done. Of course, if you shoot off some of the costs, maintenance, everything, at least you'll have 800 there clean for you just after 28 days from 1 acre. But like I said, the biggest work has been done in the garden. So here, it's about perfection. If you perfect your skill, you will maximize the money from here.
So one of our key projects that we do is silk. Everywhere in the country is suitable for silk production. We did a study, and we are sure in all those places where they don't have perennial sources of income, this would be a possible source of perennial income generation for the Ugandans. As we speak now, we have trials and production sites across 24 districts in the country and in 34 sites.
When they reach the cocooning stage, after the 7 days of stage 5, all you need, they will stop eating, and then all they need is to climb something. So you put, this is a spinning frame.
Okay.
It's called a spinning frame. So you put it on top of the silicone.
They grab onto it?
Yes, yes. So each of them will colonize one of these holes. So for example, one will climb here, then within this space, it will spin around itself. You can call it, start spitting out that fiber. It's the silk thread that we are looking for. So it spits and rotates around. That will be the pupal stage of the silicone. And that is the most important stage that any farmer wants. It's the gold that you've been wanting to see. So the cocoon will be seated right there. So you pick them and harvest them like you would harvest them.
What's that inside?
So inside is again the silicone, because its life cycle has not ended. However, we discontinue it because this is what we desire.
Yes.
If you leave it, it splits it. Because it splits it, it grows into a moth. And the moth continues its life. That's a butterfly. Then it will lay eggs again, like a normal life cycle of an insect.
Okay.
So, but however, because this is what you want, you harvest this stage. You can dry them under sunshine. That's the local method of trying to secure the cocoon. This is yellow because of genetic modification. In genetics, all you need is to play around with the coloring gene of the silkworm. But however, like I was telling you, these cocoons, if you under the right sunshine or consistent sunshine, they will dry for 7 days for them to be free and very okay. Then we go on to defloss them. Deflossing is cleaning. You remove this You can see this loose. Yeah, you remove that from the dirty feathers on it. So, and you have a very clean cocoon. Remember this cocoon, the whole magic is that it is having a thread around it.
Okay.
And this thread is about 1 kilometer, one of it, like this. So that is it. That's what we work for.
Perfect.
When
Thank
you are here,
so
you are
much.
in a business.
Thank you.
We want to produce 2,000 metric tons of silk yarn, which should be able to generate about $100 million of income to the economy of Uganda. And then we have 80% of that money going back to the rural areas, because that's where we have the farms. And by doing that, we are creating jobs, we are enhancing the livelihoods of rural people, and that is what we think the contribution we are making to this country. But besides that, we do other things which have local market, by the way. Because silk, for example, as the incomes of Ugandans increase, many Ugandans turn to fussy kind of fabric, and silk is known as the queen of fabric. So all you people who are rich living in Kampala will be tapping part of that money, and will be stopping the import of silk into the country. These days when people go for introductions, the garments should be that of silk. The gowns that you take to your in-laws should be of silk. The neckties that we wear should be of silk. And even planes, the tire for making planes can also come from silk, and it actually produces one of the strongest fibers that can fit there. So the market is enormous. And when you look at the entire Eastern Central Africa, now that we have those market opportunities, you go to Tanzania, those rich Tanzanian women like to wear silk. You cross here to Kenya, women are making a lot of money and they want to wear silk. You go to Western Uganda, Rwanda, those women, the kind of clothes that they wear, they like silk. So we are just looking at local markets and markets within the region before we actually adventure out. Otherwise, every year the demand for silk is much more than the production.